What's up, gangsters? Welcome back to the MovieMafias. Well, I'm AP and today we're gonna talk about one of the best TV shows of this year yet. And arguably the best TV show from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Or should I say, multiverse, cause, spoiler alert, Sylvie left quite a mess.
See you soon.
A mess that Doctor Strange will find a hard time to clean up in Multiverse of Madness, but that's next year. Today we're gonna talk about the top 10 moments from Loki. But before I start off the list, I'm asking all of you guys to please consider subscribing to our channel cause your support is really invaluable. After all, it's what keeps us going. So please consider subscribing to our channel, okay? Alright then, without wasting any more time, let's dive straight into the video. Well, we knew the series was going to be about our Loki played by Tom Hiddleston. What we didn't know was the fact the series was also going to introduce several different variations of Loki from different timelines. The primary of which is a Lady Loki, aka Sylvie. Taken prisoner as a child by the TVA, Sylvie escaped from the clutches of Ravonna Renslayer by stealing her tempad and has been running ever since. And planning to take down the TVA, which is like her whole life's mission. That's why she gets so angry when our Loki interferes with her plans. Anyway, we get a few glimpses of her in the first episode, but her face is not revealed until towards the end of the second episode. And since then, Sophia DiMartino's portrayal of a headstrong yet cunning variant of Loki has really helped Sylvie become one of the major characters of the MCU over the course of the next 4 episodes. So it's no wonder that her face reveal gets the opening spot of our top 10 list. So say anything you want about the third episode, about it being slow and all, and maybe it was a bit slow.
Must go faster.
But you can't deny one thing. The action sequence at the end of the episode was amazing. And the semi-one-shot where Loki and Sylvie are running towards the Ark to get off the apocalyptic moon, while also evading the guards, it's just one of the best camera works in the whole MCU. Now, one thing that the show is really good at is emphasizing how a cult can easily brainwash people to dangerous extent and make them believe in ridiculous shit.
What? Of course you can.
So the TVA has this incredible dogma about the Timekeeper saving the sacred timeline, which is, well, let's just hear from Loki himself.
3 magic lizards
Timekeepers.
created the TVA, and everyone in it,
Right.
including you.
Including me.
You serious?
Now, I would have been very disappointed if the Timekeepers turned out to be real. But in episode 4, as Loki and Sylvie are having an amazing fight against the TVA hunters, and Sylvie eventually throws her dagger, sword, whatever you wanna call it, to one of the Timekeepers, we got our confirmation. They're fucking androids. So, it was probably one of the most satisfying scenes in the whole show.
Mindless androids.
Now, after the reveal of the Timekeepers, Loki gets pruned by Renslayer, and the next episode, Loki finds himself in the Void, a place at the end of time where everything that the TVA prunes is transferred. And the place looks quite a lot like the Limbo from Inception, except the Limbo doesn't have a huge monster dog named Goliath, which is like made up of clouds and kills everything on its way. What a lovely place! But that's not all. The place also has some of the most ridiculous shit that Marvel has ever done, like the Thanos copter and Throg, but also Loki finds a couple of variants of himself, including Richard E. Grant in a Halloween costume, a kid Loki, a boastful Loki, and an alligator Loki. So I don't know how they did it, but the place is one of the most sinister as well as one of the most fun places in the whole MCU at the same time. And
It's best not to question it.
Wherever it is I'm really from, and wherever I had a life before the TVA came along. Maybe I had a jet ski. That's what I like.
so throughout episode 4, there's a building anticipation of something big incoming, as both Mobius and Hunter B-15 come to find out that their sacred TVA is not so sacred after all. And all the workers of the TVA are actually variants that the TVA kidnapped from the sacred timeline to work for them. Now, Mobius goes to Loki to plan for a mutiny or something like that, but on their way out, they're caught by Renslayer. And this happens next.
Prune him.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Oh my god. Renslayer, you just went from a stern lady to a bitch within a second.
All I know is I don't want to hurt you. I don't want a throne.
Well, Loki and Sylvie always seem to have a lover's tension between them since they came to know each other in episode 2. And at first, many people were grossed out by that, and they were like, ew, that's so gross, he's falling for himself, he's dating himself, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, bitch! As long as they don't have the same memories, they are not the same person. I mean, that was the whole point of the Ship of Theseus conversation between the two visions, right? Anyway, this tension between Loki and Sylvie reaches its emotional climax towards the end of the season finale, when He Who Remains offers them two options. Either kill him, or rule the TVA in his place. And obviously Sylvie goes for the first option. But as Loki is trying to make her understand the consequences of that, Sylvie is all heartbroken as she thinks Loki is doing this out of greed for the throne. And then they have a fight, at the end of which Loki puts down his sword and confesses his love to Sylvie. Man, this acting from Tom Hiddleston in this scene. And the music too from Natalie Holt, which makes this scene so goddamn emotional. Speaking of emotional moments, one of the most emotional moments in the series comes in episode 1, when Loki goes through a TVA file about how his life was supposed to be if he hadn't stolen the Tesseract and never got arrested by the TVA. Now, I can wonder how Marvel was like, well, how can we make this 2012's version of Loki go through the same character development that our Loki went through in like 10 years? Simple, just have him watch a video of his whole life for like 5 minutes and...
Boom. You looking for this?
This is wild.
So the MCU is a huge franchise, and when billion-dollar franchises like Marvel or Star Wars or even Harry Potter make new TV shows or films, they get a lot of expectations, and fan theories pop up. And when the movies and the shows don't live up to the expectations, the fans get angry. And it's not so wise to rub their noses on the ground a little bit more by misdirection. Talking about the whole Ralph Bohner situation there. So after WandaVision, several fans were actually skeptical of the anticipation of Kang being the true mastermind behind the TVA. And they thought they were going to get bonered again, but that didn't happen. And it was kinda like Marvel's late apology letter to the fans like, hey, you wanted Mephisto? You didn't get it. You wanted Doctor Strange to show up? That didn't happen. And the whole X-Men crossover thing just turned out to be a huge boner joke. So here's Kang the Conqueror. Well, kinda. Cause he's not actually Kang, but a variant of Kang who goes by the name of He Who Remains. And man, what a debut it was for Jonathan Majors in the MCU.
And ages of cosmic harmony, hence...
You're welcome.
Remember I was talking about Richard E. Grant in a Halloween costume? Well, he plays this character called Classic Loki, which is basically our version of Loki if he wasn't killed by Thanos in Infinity War. So the scene that I'm talking about here is his grand sacrifice, his glorious purpose, as he allows himself to be taken out by Goliath, but not before he distracts the huge monster dog with his holographic projections of Asgard, which was badass, thus buying some crucial time for Loki and Sylvie to enchant the monster. And everything in this scene was perfect, from the music to the CGI to the acting, and I didn't expect Classic Loki to become one of my favorite characters in the show from one single scene, but he did. And that speaks a lot about this moment.
Take it easy. You're an analyst, right? What division are
What?
you from?
What are you talking about?
Who are you? What's your name?
Boots on the ground now, archives.
Who are you?
When Infinity War came out, many said it was Marvel's version of Empire Strikes Back. Well, I hate comparing stuff, but if that's the case, then Season 1 finale of Loki is probably Marvel's version of Season 5 finale of Game of Thrones. Now, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, spoiler alert, that was when Jon Snow died. On the other hand, in the Season 1 finale of Loki, Sylvie kills He Who Remains, and by doing so, she frees the entire timeline of the MCU. So that means every story that Marvel has ever told can now officially be part of the MCU, including the X-Men films, the original Spider-Man trilogy from Sam Raimi, the Amazing Spiderman films, and some shitty films like Elektra and Captain America?
Mr. President! Thanks.
But hang on, it's not over yet, because when Loki gets pushed back to the TVA headquarters by Sylvie, Hunter B-15 and Mobius don't seem to recognize him, and there's already a Kang statue in place of the old Timekeeper statues. So, has the TVA been reset? Is this a different TVA from a different timeline? What's happening? I guess we have to wait a long time to find out all the answers. But meanwhile, what you can do is give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel, and give us some suggestions in the comment section below on what type of content you'd like to see next. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching this video, and as always, see you in the next one.